suit on. Well, you probably came to the wrong church. That's the way you feel. Anyways, we're going to look at some things today in the Word that really kind of get misconstrued a lot. I'm telling you, you could go here, listen to me preach. You could go down the road, listen to the Church of Christ preach. You could probably go to, is there a Catholic church in Smith County? I think that's all about, is there?
I don't know.
There's one in Macon.
One in Macon County. I guess that's about the only kind of church that don't exist. I mean, we got Jehovah's Witness. We got everything in Smith County, so it's a free-for-all. Anyway, you could go to a Catholic church. You could go to a Baptist church. You could go to a pastor church. I think I told y'all one day, and I won't get it exactly right, but it said something like the Church of the Pentecost of the Baptist Church of Pentecost of the Seventh-day Nazarenes. I mean, it was like something crazy. I was like, did they just try to tie every denomination into that one church? But you could go so many places and hear so many different things. But we're going to give a perspective today that really is what the message is all about, what the story is all about. So if you have a Bible, and I hope you do, I'd like to invite you to the book of John, the Gospel of John, chapter 2. The Gospel of John, chapter 2. And we're going to take a look of what took place in this story, Jesus' first miracle, why he was there, what he did, and all these different things. But Jesus had just called some of his disciples to follow him, okay? So you know where we are. And so he has called some of those disciples to follow him. And chapter 2 starts out, on the third day, Jesus was there, invited to the wedding. To him, they have no wine. Jesus said to her, Woman, what does your concern have to do with me? My hour has not yet come. His mother said to the servants, Whatever he found, there were set there 6 water pots of stone, according to the manner of purification of the Jews, containing 20 or 30 gallons apiece. Jesus said to them, Fill the water pots with water. And they filled them up to the brim. And he said to them, Draw some out now, and take it to the master of the feast. And they took it. When the master of the feast and did not know where it came from, but the servants who had drawn the water knew, the master of the feast called the bridegroom and said to him, Take out the good wine. And when the guests have well drunk, then the inferior, you have kept the good wine until now. So, one thing just to point out, I guess it really don't matter with me because it's going to come sooner or later. I look back, do you know whose responsibility it was for the wedding in the biblical days? Do you know whose responsibility it was to pay for, to take care of, to feed? And listen, these things could last up to a week. I mean, man, it was like party time in the USA. Only like 4 young people know that it's a party in the USA. I don't remember who sung that song. It was like a week long. And they had a big parade and all of these different things. Well, you know whose responsibility it was to take care of the bill? The groom's. The groom's responsibility to take care of the food. All right? So, and all the stuff that go along. Well, now, for some reason, and as my daughter gets more approaching, I'm wondering, can we not change that back? Now, it's the girl's family's job to pay for the wedding, right? And I read some different things of where that came from and all this. It was too complicated for me. But anyways, so they're at this wedding feast. and they've run out of wine. Seems like no big deal. As a matter of fact, most church people be like, surprised they ran out of wine. So probably everybody was getting drunk. It's a good thing they ran out. Nobody didn't eat that nasty stuff no way. Well, in the Bible, in the Bible, you're going to be hard pressed to convince me that having a glass of wine is sinful. The preacher just said that. Oh my gosh, we should fire him. Well, I guess fire me. Because it's not biblical. People stand up and preach in pulpits all across the world. You take one drink, you are a sinner and going to die and go to hell. And they weigh 475 pounds up there saying it. Stop me when I get out of line, okay? The where this came from, I don't know. But wine was very beneficial. It was not just beneficial for it had medicinal reasons, right? But it was also because, anybody ever been to Mexico in here? I went to Mexico when I was 21 years old. I went to Cancun. When you're 21, everybody in the world is dumb except you, okay? Everybody. Like, look, I've got the world by the tail. Just mind your own business. As I'm going to Cancun, my barber, at the time, I lived in Nashville. And my barber at the time, his wife was our travel agent. So, he told me, he said, look, man, get down there, do not drink water. If it's bottled water, or if it's at a restaurant, most of the time it's filtered. Do not drink the water at just a hole in the wall restaurant or whatever. The first day we get down there, everybody, he's an idiot, right? He don't know what he's talking about. I know everything. We get down there, me, my brother, 4 friends of ours, and we find a nice little Mexican restaurant, a hole in the wall. Over on the side of the road, I'm like, man, I bet this is going to be good. Let's go in there. So we go in there and we order. Of course, I was 21. I was a lot more concerned then about my physique. As you can tell, I was skinny, and so I go in there and we order our food, and I said, man, just bring me a glass of water. I'm not going to tell you, about 9:30 that evening, it was bad news for me. It was bad news for me, and all I'm thinking about was, man, they told me. Why didn't I listen? But it's not always fresh. You remember I told y'all about my buddy? They adopted those kids from, I don't remember if it's Haiti or Uganda or Ethiopia, wherever country that they adopted them from. And his first 2 kids, when they got here, they turned the water on and would just sit there in awe and look at it. They could not believe that you could turn a knob and fresh, clean, drinkable water came out. Well, a lot of people drank wine in the biblical days because the water was bad. Right. You couldn't drink the water. And Paul told Timothy, take a little wine for your stomach's sake. That don't you dare leave out of here and go down to some restaurant and order you drink 6 beers and stumble out there and say, preacher said it was okay. Okay? It is a sin to get drunk, period. That ain't even up for discussion. To get drunk, you are sinning. When I sat at the table too long, I'm sinning. When you lie, you're sinning. When you commit a homosexual act, you're sinning. When you steal, you're sinning. When you look at a woman or a man in lust, you're sinning. Don't come in here and let's try to divide. No, it's not. But they've run out of wine. Listen, this is a great big deal at this wedding As a matter of fact, one of the guys, or one of the things that I read, said that they could, people at the wedding, or especially the bride's family, could sue the groom for running out of wine. I'm like, who would do that? I mean, you know, I don't know, who would do that? But they're here, they've ran out of wine, Jesus has been invited to the wedding, they've run out, and Jesus' mother comes to him and says, they're out of wine. Wonder why she came to Jesus for. Wonder why she came to her son. He said, they're out of wine. They're out of wine, Jesus. I mean, she could have went down to the local Walmart or Kroger's, Publix, bought a few bottles, come back. You know, she went to Jesus and says, they have no wine. They are out. She was posing a problem to him that she knew was very significant. We might read through this story and like, man, they ran out of wine, so what? But the attitude of the people there was, how could this happen? You know what happened one time? Our lines broke down at our Coke plant in Nashville, Tennessee. Broke down. We've got 2 liters on sale that week. Order them. I go to the store manager and says, look, man, we're not getting no 2 liters in. Our lines are broke. They're trying to fix them. They can't really find a problem, and we don't have none. And he looked at me just like this and goes, how can Coke run out of Coke? Just like that. How can Coke run out of Coke? I mean, how can Walmart run out of groceries? See, in your mind, that's not, I mean, you just can't even think how that would happen. And this is the same situation at the marriage. It was their duty almost to make sure. But they had run out. So his mom, Jesus' mother, comes to him and says, they have no wine. Jesus said to her, woman, what does your concern have to do with me? Now, and where is Mason at? He going home? Is he laying down? He might be helping the children's church today. And if you told Mason, trash needs to be taken out. I need you to take it out for me. And he turned around to you and said, woman, what does that concern have to do with me? What's your response?
I say what I say.
No.
No, I'm kidding. It wouldn't be good though.
Wouldn't be good? I mean, I'm just glad some people still discipline their kids. This time out thing gets on my nerves. I'm going to go ahead and start preaching another sermon now.
Oh.
Mark Flowers said, if you refer to your mother as woman, you better be Jesus.
It really, in our society, it seems like this is a term of very disrespect. Woman? What's that got to do with me? What concern? What does your concern have to do with me? Jesus is at a point of starting his ministry at this moment. I mean, he's done called his disciples, so part of it has done started, but he's fixing to really start showing people that he's not Jesus, just Jesus of Nazareth. That he is the Messiah, that he is the anointed one, that he is the one that the prophets spoke of. And he says, what does your concern have to do with me? My hour has not yet come. Listen to what she says. I mean, you almost get this picture that they're not even paying attention to each other. She comes like, oh my gosh, Jesus, we're out of wine. We have no wine. I'm sure she was in a not a panic, but a frenzied state of, we don't have any wine. And Jesus is like, what's your concern going to do with me? It's almost like just out of touch with each other. And then, to beat it all, after he says that, she turns around to his disciples, do whatever he tells you to do. You're almost like, did she hear what he said? And did he hear what she said? And all these different things. And it's almost like there's a disconnect. But she says, do whatever he tells you to do. Whatever he says to you, do it. Now there were set 6 water pots of stone according to the manner of purification for the Jews. So this is the water pots that they washed with. Still had some water left in them. Some, don't know how much. And he tells the disciples, go and fill those up all the way to the top. So, as Mary told them, they did it. And they filled them up, and he said, now draw out some water and take it to the master of the feast. They took it. When the master of the feast had tasted, the water was made wine and did not know where it came from. So this guy, the wedding planner, the bride's father, I don't know who he is, the master of the wedding. You think that he didn't know, thought, oh man, they must have found some more wine out back. He knew they was out of wine, and they bring it to him and taste it. Give it to him to taste, and it says that he didn't know where it came from, so he went to the bridegroom, or called the bridegroom to him, and said, every man at the beginning sets out the good wine, and when the guests have well drunk, then the inferior. You have kept the good wine until now. Folks, this is not grape juice. Welch's and Dole and all them, they didn't have a couple of cases of grape juice sitting out back. And people that say that, I used to tell people all the time. I would ask people, well, so it says all these different things in Scripture about, that he passed the cup. He passed the wine. I believe it's oinos is the word. Is that right, Tom? You know? O-I-N-O-S is the word. And it's used the exact same word over and over. They said, well, that was wine where he got drunk, but it was grape juice here. I'm like, it's the same word. It's the exact same word. And but people will say, well, he turned it into grape juice. That's diminishing the miracle of Christ. He didn't turn it into grape juice. He turned it into full, all-out, fermented wine. A time period would have had to have elapsed if he just had grape juice. I mean, if it was just grape juice, it wouldn't have really been that big of a deal. But he took something that was going to take time to happen and made it happen right there on the spot. Because you see, one thing I want us to realize is that no matter what's going on in our life, no matter what you're going through, I don't care. Maybe you're battling some family problems. Maybe you're battling job problems. Maybe you're battling a sickness problem. Maybe you're just battling a good Christian walk struggle. You know one thing that I've noticed? Christians have lost their joy. We don't have joy. I mean, we walk around on Sabbath. What's the matter? What? My upstairs that conditioner went out.
No.
You mean you got it downstairs? Yeah, but it's hot upstairs. Well, stay downstairs a couple of days. What about people that ain't got nowhere? My car broke down. I had to walk next door and ask for sugar. I mean, man, everything's just like a big problem. I mean, we clap, and we just don't have no joy. I always like to look at people and how their face looks. Not while I'm preaching, because I I'd say, man, ain't nobody in here saved. This is God's face most of the time. Oh, she heard that. I'm just kidding. Y'all don't all look like it. But I like to look at people's faces. And you see them, and some people, no matter what's happening, man, they're just like, I trust God. No matter what, I trust God. I told y'all, a friend of mine and his wife and kids came over to our house. They had a little girl. She died. On the scene, died. The door where they hit a wall in black ice, went down an embankment, hit a tree. The door went into the girl's skull. The mom sees it on sight. Runs up the ravine, across the street or down the street, knocks on the door to get help. When the ambulance gets there, she can't walk because her femur is sticking through her leg. I don't know if she ignored it. I don't know what happened. But they pronounced this girl dead on the scene. And people show up. And she's like, are you a Christian? I'm like, yeah. She's like, come on, we're going to pray right now. She said she gets in the ambulance. And the ambulance driver is trying to take care of her, get her legs set, and all these different things. And she said she looked at him and said, you're going to see God work a miracle today. You're going to see God work a miracle today. That little 2.5-year-old girl that had a car door cut into her skull, now she has a prosthetic skull. They bring her back to life at the hospital. They tell her she will be paralyzed her entire life. She will never walk, and she will be a vegetable. We'll never talk or anything. She walked around my house and spoke to me at my house last week. Hey, listen, I'm going to tell you something. In the middle of adversity, this woman had joy in the Lord. I'm like, man, we get upset over an ingrown toenail. But no matter what you're going through, no matter what your struggle is, I can tell you there is one thing that is imminent that's got to happen to the very first step of taking care of it. Jesus has got to be there. Jesus was at the wedding. You know why he was at the wedding? He had been invited. Do you invite Jesus to be with you day in, day out? Now, I know that we have the Holy Spirit living inside of us, but I'm talking a conscious decision to walk with Him, to be guided by Him every step of our way. Then we can start having some joy. Then we can start having some healing. Then we can start having some forgiveness. I had somebody call me last week. So, well, I don't know. I know, Mr. Johnny, I know you're a preacher. And told me a story of a bad thing that somebody had done to their family. So, man, I've really been praying hard of whether or not I should forgive them. I said, hey, man, let me tell you something. You ain't got to pray about that. Listen, you ain't got to pray about some things. Don't come to me, I'm thinking about getting baptized. I'm praying that God is going to tell me when the right time is. I can tell you when the right time is when you get saved.
Right.
You ain't got to pray if God wants you to be baptized. You ain't got to pray if God wants you to love somebody. Well, my neighbors really, hey, great example. Tom's neighbors that come to church here at times. They're struggling with some bills. They're really having a hard time. I'm going to pray and see if we should help them. You ain't got to pray about that. The Bible says if your brother's hungry, feed him. If he's naked, clothe him. Can somebody say amen to me? Goodness gracious. I said, hey man, you ain't got to pray about that. You know why? He said, why is that? And I took him to Matthew 18, I believe it was. And Peter come and said, Jesus, how many times when my brother sins against me should I forgive him? 7? Because see, 7 was a number of finalization, completeness, perfectness. He thought, well, if I forgive somebody 7 times, then that's enough. And Jesus said, no, I say not to you 7, but 7 times 70. Perfection times perfection. Completeness times completeness. That means it's limitless. You never stop forgiving somebody. He said, does it really say that? I said, yeah, look. Read it. You ain't got to pray about it. But no matter what it is, if Jesus is there, there's hope. If Jesus is there, there's a chance. And then the second thing is because Jesus is able to take care of it. He said to give him your burdens. He says to bring it to him. He says he'll take care of it. And last but not least, Jesus will not fail. He will not fail you. He will not fail you, and He will come through with the best answers. Remember in verse 10 where it says, hey, listen, you kept the good until now. He didn't come in with a half-answered prayer. He didn't come in with just something small, just something mediocre, just something that'll get by. He came in with the best of the best. You know why? Because He is the best. He can take care of anything that you need. Listen, I want us to start walking around with a little more confidence. I want us to start walking around with more of an attitude of, you know what? No matter what happens. And I mean no matter what happens. No matter what happens. I can keep on going, and tomorrow will be better than today. Because listen, one of these days we're going to draw our last breath. I'm telling you, everybody in here is going to die. Right. You know, I'm used to talking to teenagers, so when I say that, a lot of us look at me like, huh? That's like 75 years from now, Mr. Johnny. And you say it to the older crowd, they're like, yeah, I'm getting close. You know. But we are all going to die one day. And I want you to know something. When you draw your last breath, if you know Jesus Christ, I'm talking a relationship. I don't mean know of Him. I mean know Him. I don't mean believe in Him. I mean believe Him. James says even the demons believe in God and tremble. They know that Jesus Christ is out there. They understand that death's been defeated. Satan knows in the end he will lose. But his big reward, so he thinks, will be to take everybody down with him. I want us to start walking around more joyful. I want us to start understanding that whatever problem we face, all we got to do is give it to Jesus, and He can take care of it. Now, I'm not saying, don't come to me next week and say, well, I was praying that my grandmother wouldn't die, and she died. You told me Jesus would answer all my prayers. I didn't say He'd answer them in a way that we always want Him to be answered. I mean, I had a teenager come to me one time and said, Mr. Johnny, I want you to start praying with me, man. My mom and dad says they're getting a divorce. And I want to start praying that God will keep them together. So we started praying. About 6 months later, they got divorced. And he said, man, I just thought for sure God was going to take care of it for me. I said, hey, man, look, don't blame God. for humans' misunderstandings and mistakes. It's not God's fault. God may have been trying to do anything He could to help out. They may have not have listened. You think there's ever been a time God wanted you to do something you didn't listen? Yeah. All of us. All of us. But I want us to start having some joy. When we go to the fair this week, I hope that you can come. Man, I'm going to try to witness to everybody that walks by there. I'm going to try to tell everybody who walks by that table who Jesus Christ is and what He's done for them. We're going to love on some people. We're going to pray with some people. And no matter if they ever come to church here or not, that's not the point. That's not the point. I want them to know Jesus Christ's love. You know who's going to be at the fair with me this week? Jesus. Jesus is going to be with me this week. And you know who's going to take care of every situation at the fair this week? Jesus. And you know what else? You know who ain't going to fail this week? Jesus. I might fail. You might fail. But He won't fail. He will come through with the best there is to offer. You know why God didn't allow us to save ourselves? You know why God had to do away with sacrificing goats and sheep and bulls and turtle doves and pigeons and all the other stuff that they used to sacrifice? There was actually a wine offering in there too, by the way, just to let you know. Because none of that was good enough. Even when they would take a lamb, you know, on the Passover, they had to take a lamb. It had to be, what did that lamb have to be? Anybody remember? It had to be unblemished. They could, I don't know if y'all have ever done it, but we used to have goats at our house. Right. If anybody's ever had goats, you couldn't get a goat, because, I mean, man, we'd call, I don't know if y'all remember Dr. Donaldson or not, that was down in Carthage. He'd come out, give 4 shots, and leave 9 things of medicine, and be like, Dr. Donaldson, how much owe you? $20. Man, I don't know where them people went, but we need some back. But anyways, he'd come out, and I mean, we'd have goats, and they'd get that foot right. Anybody ever had goats? Anybody had goats?
I know all about that.
Like a couple of them. And they'd be limping around on one foot. You couldn't go out there and take a sheep or a lamb that had something wrong with it and sacrifice it. It had to be the best of the best. It had to be unblemished. But you know, even those lambs wasn't perfect. There's only one that was perfect. And Jesus Christ came to die for us. And it was because He was perfect is the reason that God accepted His Son's sacrifice. And listen, you know how I know it was perfect? You know how they had to do the unblemished lamb? Pilate wanted, remember he had Barabbas and Jesus both out there. Jesus had been arrested. How many days did the lamb have to be put up? Y'all remember? Remember how many days the lamb had to be put up and investigated? 3 days. 3 days the lamb had to be looked over. It had to be unblemished. It had to be checked out. Make sure it wasn't sick and was going to fall over and die. Anything like that. Had to be an unblemished lamb. Jesus had been arrested. He'd been put up. And Pilate asked them, he said, who should I release? And they said, release Barabbas. And they said, well, what should we do with Jesus? And they said, crucify Him, crucify Him. And these are the words that Pilate spoke. You don't believe it? Go look it up. And I'm pretty sure it's in the Gospel of John. He said, take ye Him and crucify Him, for I find no fault in Him. He was the perfect lamb. The perfect lamb. There was no fault in Him. He told me, he said, don't you know I got the power to let you go? He said, you ain't got nothing. He said, you ain't taking my life. I'm laying it down. He was God in the flesh. He could have disappeared if He wanted to. He'd done that before. But He came for a purpose. He will not fail you. I promise you, He will not fail you. Put everything you've got in with some joy. Let's go this week with some trust. Let's go this week with some faith that He is who He says He is, and He can take care of anything that we might face. Let's stand today, Brother Gary, Janice. I'm gonna do something next week. I don't know how it's gonna work out. I don't know how it's gonna go. But as I was talking about that story, you should have seen when we put that pond up on the wall, we had all them fish cut out. Listen, no lie, I had a young kid come in. Oh gosh, what was that boy's name? Jackson was his last name. I can't think of his first name. But he come in because I ain't kidding. Our kids would get the names. They'd go get one or two names, and they would pray over that kid, and they would go to school that week, and they would witness to that kid or those two kids, whatever it was. And man, it was so beautiful when one of those kids would get saved and we'd get to take that name out of the pond. Oh, I love it. Man, it was a great feeling. But anyways, we had a kid come in one night, and his name was Jackson was his last name. I cannot think of his first name. But anyways, he's standing in our youth room. There is a big, huge pond with fish in it. It's got all these names on it. And I see him over there. He's sitting in a chair, and he's looking at the wall like he's not looking. And all of a sudden, you can see his demeanor changes. After church, he comes up and he says, Mr. Johnny, what's that? What's my name doing over on the wall? And I said, well, man, we went through the annual this year at school. Before school started, we went through all the kids. And the kids put your name in there, saying that they didn't think that you were saved. No lie, man. He dropped his head. He said, I'm saved. He said, but I don't act like it. And he said, man, I'm so glad that I came here tonight because that has spoke wonders to me of what other people are thinking. And he said, you can take my name out of there. I am saved. I'm a Christian. I tell you what, tonight my life will change. And I said, man, you go take your name out of it. He went over there and he got his name out and he took it off. And everybody that got saved, we kept all the names of all the fish, of all the kids that ended up getting saved that year. I think there were like 17 teenagers got saved over that school year. Man, it was beautiful. But as I was talking about that story a while ago, I just like God saying something. Do it now. Can you do it with these people? We're going to find us a spot for a pond. Can we do that in a sanctuary? There shall be it. We're going to put us a pond up somewhere. And as lost people starts hitting our heart, we're going to start writing their name down on some fish. Listen, if all we're going to do is sit in here on Sunday and eat a meal after church or eat breakfast, we might as well lock up and go home and save money on the electric bill. I'm talking about getting busy. I'm talking about something being a constant reminder. I know that guy right there and he's lost. What am I going to do about it other than pray? Because Jesus said to go. So we're going to do it. I don't know, we got any teachers in here? We got somebody that knows teachers in here? Mama Jane, you know a teacher, don't you? Mike can find us a big piece of blue paper. I don't even know where you get that stuff. It's like that wide. It comes on a big roll. Somebody will find it. We'll find some. We're going to make us a pond. We're going to put it up there. And we're going to go fishing. Okay? We're going to go fishing. This is what I want you to do. Has Satan stole your joy? You walk around the negative. Well, man, life's just so bad. If you do, I want you to come to this altar today and say, Jesus, I want my joy back. I'm taking my joy back today that Satan has stolen from me. Jesus, one, I know you're here. 2, I know you're able, and 3, I know you will not fail me. I'm going to ask you to do that. Maybe you're here today, and you need to come for something that has nothing to do with what we've talked about this morning. Come. At the end, as we close down, I'm going to ask all of our kids to come down. I know some maybe a little shy, different things. Parents, you can bring them, and we're going to pray for those kids as school starts back. I don't care if you're a senior or a kindergartner. We're going to pray for you. Okay? Well, here.